For those that believe in open economies, open societies, with a free exchange of goods, capital and people, and where ideas and innovation are encouraged and our universal freedoms protected by the rule of law, 2016 for some may have been seen as a slight rebuke. We now live in a world where globalisation has become a slur, while nationalism has flourished and liberalisation is on the brink of destruction. Over the last 100 years though, liberalisation has had it easy. With the Soviet Union's decay into laziness and complacency, the winners of society have been free to live in a world of false mediocrity where no one questions the benefits. Forces have shaped where we are now. Changes in technology, politics, have integrated into how we become as a society we are today, and we've truly evolved into a global species. Liberals welcome this evolution as it brings the benefits that they have reaped, and the majority couldn't have chosen a better time to be alive. The pessimists perceive this precariously though, and narrowly focus on the inequality and the destruction of jobs, as well as an underclass that appears unredemptionable. They also focus on the cultural threats that pose often violent threats to our society. This has quickly become perceived as what nationalism truly is to be. However, this is wrong and it has poisoned our politics today. This poison is wrong as it stands not really for what nationalism is. It's become so obvious in reality, but often we don't even see the distinct difference between it. Trump recently echoed Ronald Reagan's campaign, promising a historic once-in-a-lifetime change and America, the city on the hill. Reagan's campaign, however, was built on patriotism, inclusiveness. Trump's, however, at times was aggressive, nostalgic, and one that was different to Ronald Reagan's. However, we see the link so obviously. This is the distinct difference between what civic nationalism is and ethnic nationalism is. However, often we don't see the difference between the two, and this really is what is poisoning politics today. We shouldn't confuse the two under one broad title, but so often we do, and it slowly is degrading our society as it integrates and metastasizes into what once was a global community. In Turkey, President Erdogan has turned away from peace talks with the EU with Kurdish militia for a more favour of a strident Islamic nation that's quick to respond to threats from its neighbouring countries. In Russia, President Putin has dismissed cosmopolitan liberal views for a distinct Russian mix of Slavic tradition and Orthodox Christianity. In India, President Modi has ties to extreme radical groups which preach violence and intolerance. And in China, the daily dosage of patriotism in the education system takes pride in the fact that all non-Han citizens are second class. Within the castle of the EU, this has been okay, as no matter what, if you are Catholic, French, Hindu, you are all European. Though with Brexit and Poland and Hungary persistently passing power to xenophobic ultra-nationalists, we face a real threat, and we should be scared of this poisoning of our politics. Further in France, they seem to be preparing to make the final blow to the European Union with the recent concerning movements of Marine Le Pen, a woman brought up by a father whose political alignment is in situ with Nazism and fascism. In conjunction, Trump prepares to alienate America and put up a barricade, leaving the world more vulnerable and to the turmoil and strife that this endures. This new form of ethnic nationalism has truly poisoned global politics and clouded what real nationalism stands for. But we must remember that 2016 has represented the demand for change. And we should never forget that in an ever-shifting world, dispute and argument are not just inevitable, but are welcome as they lead to renewal. However, liberalisation must reinvent and, as in the face of adversity, harness the restless people, whilst defending the tolerance and mindfulness that are the true foundations of the liberal world. I think really the main issue with ethnic nationalism is that it does discriminate people because of their race, because of their sex, etc. And this is wrong. But also, over the last 20, 30, 40 years, we've seen we've become a more globalised world, and I feel we're sort of moving back towards what it used to be, but even further back than that. We're turning our backs on each other. We don't want to be as involved. We're more pro-nationalism, pro sort of authoritarianism government. We don't want to be connected sort of the same way we always have been. and are developing to be even more connected. It's worth noting, really, that after World War One, America really did turn its back on the world, implemented very nationalist policies, really wanted to be interdependent because it lost so many soldiers in World War One, and up to the leading years to World War Two, it didn't want to be involved in Europe. It didn't want to have anything to do with the issues that were going on, the things that were sort of pressing problems of the time. And arguably, this was a cause of a world war, and that really is what concerns me the most. We've lost this, or losing this interconnectivity, this reliance on each other for protection. And America, whether Donald Trump will or not leave NATO, leave the UN, is debatable. But if it does happen and is sort of pressuring to happen, we wouldn't even considered that sort of 10, 20 years ago. Now seems much more realistic, and really that's what concerns me, is increasing tensions, conflict, not just at global scale but national and local. I think it's hard enough to predict what's going to happen in the next year, let alone the next 10 years. But I think from a UK perspective, a lot's weighing down to the Brexit and negotiations. It's 43 years of contracts and thousands of agreements to decipher what the next step for the UK is, and those all need unravelling and dealing with respectively. But I think for the UK, currently we're in a serious position of uncertainty. Will we see free movement of labour? Will banks leave? Will we still get administrative passport rights to the EU? And there's sort of lots of questions circulating that area. We've seen a lot of positivity though from Brexit. JSK have promised 275 million. McDonald's have promised 5,000 extra jobs, but also a lot of negativity coming out of it. Rise in racial attacks, and Lloyd's TSB to cut some 4,000 jobs. I think one of the most pressing issues for the UK is the regional inequality that could come of this. I live in Devon, and I saw statistics recently that 75% of Devon exports go to the EU, 70% of Cornish exports go to the EU. And this is a significant amount. It's the top 2 in the country, and it's a very regional sort of area, the southwest of England. And I think we will see the spatial inequality develop even further from what it is already. I mean, it's already very significant. Take a quick glance at the house price comparisons between London and southwest England and northeast England. There is an obvious trend. But we still see very little commentary. I mean, with the Brexit negotiations, nothing's clear wherever you are in the country. And Theresa May's repetitive comment is she will not be giving running commentary on the Brexit negotiations. So to answer your question, no, I don't really know what's going to happen exactly, and it's quite hard to speculate what's going to happen sort of over the next year, 5 years, 10 years. But then again, I don't think really the Prime Minister or any of the world leaders know. But hey, welcome to the new world of politics. Uncertain. We don't really know what's going to be entailed. But no, it'll be interesting to see sort of how everything pans out over the next and coming years.